Hello and welcome to Moneyline with Nancy. It is the second day of the African Economic Congress and we're here to bring you excerpts from the show. I'm Henry Ishomti.
And of course I am Christiana Amodo. Harry, I must say we've had really amazing sessions today, with particular reference to the session with His Excellency Peter Obi, the former governor of Anambra State. And he did say so many things. He said so many things related to youth unemployment, Africa harnessing the African population, especially her youthful population, to grow the African economy. And of course, we are building an Africa we want here at the African Economic Congress. So what better way to do that than bringing in the youth perspective into it?
And it's quite true. And one of the key takeaways that I'm so much interested is in the fight against corruption, where he stated that the best way to go against corruption is not by running after the corrupt people you perceive as corrupt people, but actually building institutions and also making sure that there's transparency and efficiency in all institutions.
Yes, he also spoke about austerity measures, cutting down on costs. He said the revenue is not our problem, but the fact that we have to cut down on cost and spend expenditure in Nigeria. And I think that's a good note for him to sound to our leaders and also the participants here present. And I think it's not really, the message here is not just to policymakers or lawmakers. Even you that you're participating, you have something to take away from that message.
And that was why he made and emphasized that the session today should be free for all. And we had so much turn up. People came around asking him a series of questions, and it's a very good one, I must say.
And I must add, a lot of young people did come out to listen to the former governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Peter Obi, speak on building Africa business leaders. I think we need to put that out there. We need to build a set of leaders that we know can take Africa, can move Africa forward significantly. And that's what we are really trying to achieve here today. And I think we need to call for a break now. We need to call for a break now to bring you excerpts from that session and other sessions we had today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I think it is.
So let me go to the session which we all have been waiting for. How will I start this introduction? Let me start. Let me start by saying that this is one man I enjoyed speaking with on my program. For those of you that followed my program, he was on my show some weeks ago, and we were just slugging it out. And he's African business leader today. Let me just tell you a few things about him. He likes me to address him as Peter Obi, though I'm used to saying Governor Peter Obi. But Peter Obi, of course, is an alumni of University of Nigerian, Nsukka, where he told me he studied philosophy, actually. So for those of you that are interested with that information. He's an alumni of Lagos Business School, Oxford University, Cambridge, Hello Graduate School, IMD, Switzerland. Of course, he was a former governor. Yes, a round of applause will do it. A former governor of Anambra State. And I need to say this with all sense of, responsibility. He's the only governor till date that has left so much money in the coffers of the state without owing salaries, without owing gratuities, without pensions. You see why we're bringing this kind of person to you, to speak to you, just for you to ask him questions. Nothing, he's not talking. Just your questions, he will answer them. So help me welcome Peter Obi, please. Okay, the handler of this session, the moderator of the session is my partner, Belema Mishakhat, who is the Chief Operating Officer of African Economic Congress.
Your Excellency, good morning, sir.
Morning. Good morning. And good morning, everybody.
Sir, first of all, we want to appreciate your presence here. We know it took a lot for you to make it to this event. And so, Excellency, let me just start it. For some minutes, can you just talk to young businesses passionately from your heart? They are young businessmen here. They want to hear you. After then, we start taking questions.
Well, mine is a very simple one. I think I'll just start with your questions. I was just telling Nancy that I came back this morning from the UK, and you know how our planes are when you're a politician. You just meet some people, they won't want you to sleep. So that I've been talking, for me is that I prefer that we do the question and answer. Even if I'm going to say anything, I'll say it at the end of it, when we have taken the questions. Because at the end of the day, it is you. When we do interaction and conversation, it is better. I came back with the governor this morning, and I greeted him and I said, Governor, let me tell you one thing you must do. Please, for the sake of your state, allow people to talk to you. Let them tell you freely what they feel about you. If you can do that, you will get far. Let them call you names. Let them reject you. If they do that, so I like interaction. It makes more meaning. Because when you deliver a speech, you know, at the end of the day, maybe you are trying to say or do what people are not listening to. So I want questions. I think that will start with. What you said about the second thing about philosophy and studying philosophy is a very simple thing. For me, the fundamental thing I have about philosophy is that one simple sentence: unexamined life is not worth living. Whenever people tell me anything, I ask myself a question: why do I have to do this? It doesn't matter whether everybody is doing it. There are things that have happened in my personal life that when I tell people, they say well, to me, hey, wait a minute. I'll give you an instance. Just this is not for this thing, but because you asked this question. I've been married for 27 years. Happily married. But I can tell you, I can't see anybody who said he came to my wine car. When they were agreeing, I said, well, why are we going to call the whole world because I want to live with a woman? If you want, take the money and go and give it to your people, or give it to people who want to go to school. I love you, I will live with you. But if we are going to call the whole world and spend it, and that day they go, we didn't impact on anybody. I want to know why. I came in here now, Nancy told me a story, that he has selected 10 people, and he announced it yesterday, he's going to give the first one 500,000 naira. And I said to Nancy, why only the first one? You need to create further incentive. Why don't you do it this way? Nancy, why don't you tell the first one, we will give you 350. Second one, 250. Third one, 150. The other one, 100. And Nancy said to me, I don't have enough money to do that. I said, we'll find a difference. Because you need to create. So everything I do, people say, oh, I have allergy for spending money. No. What I ask people is, what are we trying to achieve? I was a governor when I did my 50th birthday. And because I was a chairman in a bank, and I have a very good friend of mine who was my treasurer in one of the banks where I was on the board here, Johnson Chukwu. 3 institutions offered to do a big event for me. In a co-holiday in this, I said, I made sure I asked everybody to give me his cost. One other institution said they're going to build a house in my village for me. So I made sure everybody brought his cost, and I sat down. Johnson knows this and I'm talking. I told the other one, he said you're going to build a house for 100 million naira. I said, good. Tell you what you're going to do. I have Mosaino Madaka Secondary School in Nicolobia. They have no school block. I have St. Anthony Secondary School in Agu. They have no school block. I have Loretta School in Abatete. They don't have a dormitory. Share this money into 3 and provide it. You build the house for me. The ones that said they will go to a co-holiday inn, it cost us, they were able to use the money they budgeted to buy me, because they budgeted 25 million. They bought me 250 computers. I gave it to 10 to 25 schools. Because if I call people and they drink, some will get drunk, Some will cause this, and at the end of the day, there was no impact. So for me, what is the impact of this expenditure? So if you come as a governor and tell me you're going to do this, I say, no. What is the reason why we're going to do this? We can't do that. It's public money, but I'm not the manager of the money, and I don't think this is proper. Well, let me start with telling you about the issue of partnership. In partnership, if you want to enter partnership, first find out whether you and your partner have a common goal. If you're pursuing or if you're doing any business, is your partner as passionate as you are about the business? Find out what your partner expects from the business. Because often a time, you find out two separate people coming in as a partner. I want to make money because I want to be rich. You are passionate about building or doing something that will impact on the society. So from day one, two of you are parallel. Because the man who is going to look for money doesn't have the staying power, the perseverance. So you need to do that. When sure of failure, let me just go back and tell you, if anybody who tells you there's not failed in anything, don't do anything with him. If you get somebody and said, I've never failed, don't do anything with him. Just leave him or her. Failure is all part of our life. I just spoke to somebody this morning who has a very severe business problem. He called me on phone. And I said to him, you will shock you that out of the 10 richest people in the world, half of them have filed for bankruptcy. Which company do you think is the greatest company in the world today? Huh? Apple. No, Apple. The man who founded Apple, Steve Jobs, was once sacked from Apple. He went and hired John Scully, who was the CEO of Pepsi, to come and run the company. He sacked him. He said that the problem with Apple is Steve Jobs, and they sacked him. So he left. But they found out that they need him back. And when he came back, it will shock you that one of the things, if you go to the board of Apple, one of their board members was hired because he had served on board of so many failed companies. So they say he has a knowledge about failure. So it's not something to be afraid of. As long as you're doing the right thing, not the failure of you see here. People start business here without doing well. They start, because the first thing I can tell you about failure in business is that the success of every business depends on the lifestyle of the proprietor. So it depends on the type of failure. I have gone through institutions, invested, lost money as a trader, brought in goods here, lost my money for one reason or the other. It's happening to today. And I'll give you an example. As a businessman, when I was in business, I was representing a number of multinational companies. One of them is Heinz. I was the official agent for Heinz products in Nigeria. And I had imported, usually, in a December, this area, we import a lot of salad cream and all this. So in a particular moment, we had over 100 containers of salad cream at the port. What is happening now? They shut down the port. For one reason or the other, everybody was running around till about 6 months. This salad cream has been staying on the sun. By the time they allowed us to clear them, all the top and everything have turned black. In fact, I remember the then DG of NAFDAC, Dorak, he couldn't take it. He said to me, Peter, what are you going to do? He said, it's life. We see this every day. Came with nothing. I borrowed money from a bank to import salt. A similar thing happened. But, so if it's failures, you see it every day. Just like it is now, and even politically. You know, you see it every day. But the most important thing is that don't stay where they drop you. Move on. Once you stay there, you failed. Just move on. That road, so many people have traveled it and they arrived to where they're going. I have interest in the young ones and thinking about their success. Let me tell you, I'm not doing the young ones a favor. I'm actually saving my life. It's either we'll get them to do the right thing or they will consume us. That's like I tell people every day. If we think that we can live in Ikoyi and sleep and people in Ajegule don't have food, we are wasting our time. One day they will wake us up. Nobody will sleep. And that's what we're going today because so the greatest asset we have today in this country is not oil. It is the young ones. All this energy we are spending on oil is like a man spending energy on an asset that is dead. Oil is a diminishing asset. It's not going to save Nigeria. If you don't know, Venezuela have 300 billion barrels of oil. Nigeria is only 37 billion. So if he has not saved Venezuela, he won't save us. What did we earn in oil in 2018? $18.1 billion. That is absolutely nothing. It's not up to 30% of Facebook revenue in the same year. Their Facebook revenue is 55.8 billion. That is what 200 people are killing themselves, driving car all over the place, causing confusion. No. We need to invest in you. You are the oil. So that investment should be in you. So if we don't do this, it will hurt us. We need you to change the world. Africa cannot change unless we invest in the youth. You are the oil we have. And we to exploit that oil, we will invest in it. If we don't invest in it, it will consume us. About what you said about brain drain. I don't believe in the word brain drain. You see, people have, you, for example, let me take you for example. Your asset is your knowledge. And somebody needs it somewhere, and the other person doesn't need it. What will you do? You stay with the person that don't need it. You go where it's needed. It's a simple thing. If they don't want you, why are you there? What you should be saying, I'm saying, what we have, what we are calling brain drain and all this and that, just like what we are seeing today, whether it's whether it's all sorts of things, all these things you're seeing is that it's a cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. It's we who have failed the country. We have failed. That's why they're leaving. If they have, nobody stays where there's this. Two things drive the economy. No country, no nation have enough resources. But one thing you must not allow people to develop is a sense of hopelessness. Where there's no hope, why are you there? Are you a Christian? Imagine what it would be if you go to church on Sunday and the pastor said there's no heaven. Everybody will leave the church because there's no hope. The world is driven by hope. If there's no hope, why will I stay here and commit suicide? No. The country is not about payment. It's not about what they're paid. It is that they don't have hope. That is what is happening in our country today. People are developed. Look at the doctor. These are people who came back. Some of the people who came back have committed suicide. Because why will I come back where there's nothing to offer, when there's something to offer and everything? No. I have a son whom I tell every day, why don't you come and do this. He said to me, listen, Dad, I can't understand what is happening there. When I come, people want to give me job because I'm this or this. I'd rather stay here where nobody knows me. I go for the interview, I'm qualified, they take me, and I'm working, I'm happy. But the other one, I need you to write a note after I've been to the school and everything for somebody to. So if there's, okay, look at it, they're being hired by Germany when there's no job for them here, and you want them to stay. Will you stay? No, will stay. I will go. So it is for the leaders to start giving them a sense of hope for them to stay. Two, to develop more of them. If anything, I can tell you we should invest more in ICT and science-related courses, since it is going to be the future, so more and more people will work outside. I said it every day. I've only had the opportunity of doing a surgery once, very minor thing, in the UK. I entered into that theater. The two people who came to operate me, two doctors, are Nigerians. They two, one from Ondo, one from Ekiti. Why would they stay? I was once going to, when I went to study about what is happening with schools in Uganda and everything and all that, I was going to Kenya first. Because Kenya Airways was very expensive, I was looking for where I can get a cheaper flight. So I found Rwanda Air. And they said Rwanda Air. People say, oh, Rwanda. My wife would tell me, oh, where's Rwanda Air? I said, listen, my dear wife, once the thing is on the air, if you will fall, you will fall. If it will reach, you will reach. Forget about it. This is half price. So I went to Rwanda Air. To my shock, they had a brand new aircraft. But what is my shock in that plane? I entered that plane, while Kenya Airways was charging me 800 and something thousand, they were about 400 and something thousand naira. So as I was going in that plane, I was sleeping when somebody came and woke me up. Said, Your Excellency, this. So I woke up. He said, yeah, I'm the captain of the aircraft and all that. And I said, he's a Nigerian. And he said to me, 2 of us in this cockpit are Nigerians. We can't get the job here. We're flying there. They valued us. Why will I ask them to come back here and die? No. They should stay where they are. There's no brain drain. If I have people who are there, they should stay there. Not all of us here. On the second question you asked, sorry. On the African discipline. Let me tell you, there's been a lot of debate about Nigerian position on the issue of free trade. Do Nigeria participate in football competition? We participate. Do you think we have the best stadium? Nigeria cannot pick and choose where they want to be part of African free trade or not. That you don't have power. The other people didn't cause it. That you don't have this. All those things you don't have, I can tell you, are deliberately your own problem. And it can be provided. There's no rocket science in providing power. Egypt, down the road there, was able to increase their power in 2 years. Go and read it. 2 years. Pakistan, I can tell you nations who have done that. Pakistan, And how much did Pakistan? Pakistan borrowed $9.something billion strictly for power. And it's working. There's power all over the world. When we were doing privatization, I was in the bank then. And we challenged the privatization. Nigeria is the only country where I know they started privatization by privatizing the profitable companies and socializing losses. So those that were supposed to go first, like power. And when we started doing power privatization, who appeared? Peter Obi. Of course, go to other countries and see it. They have power companies that are known. You call them and they do it. When you start all this privatization and everything and do it, it's your own problem. Do we need free trade in Africa? Yes. Africa is the only continent where trade between countries are less than 10%. Actually about 5%. So you need it. African countries cannot grow if you don't have strong domestic demand. Our export is already raw materials, so we're not doing much. We don't have domestic demand. For you, Africa to grow, as you know, we need to have a strong domestic demand and manufactured export. So Nigeria needs to put its house in order. You cannot say, I will not compete because my players have not been coached. I don't have good stadium. You don't have this. Nobody's going to wait for you. It's good for Nigeria. I can tell you, I'm a businessman. It's good for Africa. If we get it right, I was telling one of the African leaders a few days ago that they need to go back and do proper peer review mechanism. If we get it right, one of the things that can pull Nigeria out of its problem is manufacturing. And I'll use a country to show you an example of how a country has transited within the past 10 years. All this is we think it will take probably 100 years for us to change. Within the past 10 years, I'll show you a country that have done very well. Even show you an example in Africa that have done very well.